And now for the Q&A.
Today, I have a question from John.
Hi, John.
John says, I've been overweight for a third of my life. I was fit in high school and for a few years after. I gained and lost 100 pounds in both undergrad and grad school. Currently, I'm the heaviest that I've been, and in the last few weeks have made the switch from I'll go to the gym when I have time to it needs to happen above all else. You espouse moderation on your podcast and sustainable habits, which really speaks to me. So my struggle as someone who works from home and is at certain times that I get a craving for straight up sugar or crackers and cheese. Should I try to find some food that will satiate that craving but still be healthy? Try to white knuckle through to my next meal? Or can the bad stuff in the house be something I negotiate with myself about? Can I have a few crackers instead of the whole sleeve, you know? And a follow-up question is, if it's negotiation, how do I get good at that?
Great question, John. I I just want to say, like, I too, when I'm not away from my house working, I don't often have to leave my house. And so, like, doing stuff like this podcast, I do from my house. And I've been writing quite a bit that I do from my house. My wife built a gym in our house, and I still have to leave and go to the gym. It's just part of my schedule that works the best for me is leaving and going and doing something. So I think it's great that making sure you get to the gym is very important for you. I want to say that I don't think that exercising our way into energy balance can make up for overeating. I think that, like, long term, that seems to fail. So I just wanted to throw that out there. This is like, if you look at the statistical analysis on this, the amount that you have to exercise to make up for overeating, it just seems like we'll wind up running our bodies into the ground unless we're professional athletes. And then it's like those guys have to overeat to make up for the amount of energy they're putting into their exercise every day. As far as negotiating foods, I can't do that. Like, there's certainly stuff in my house that I no longer consider food. Like, my kids have cereal. I don't eat cereal. And that is something I certainly have had a craving for, but that is off limits to me. I think of, in terms of moderation, I do believe in moderation, because I don't want to say I could never have cereal, but, like, as far as my day-to-day goes, that's not something I want to eat personally. Now, maybe you're a person that eats cereal and that's a part of your plan, and so the cereal version of this has nothing to do with it. Cheese and crackers are not on my plan, so that's not something I can negotiate with myself, because honestly, you know, I'm like more of the mind of that if you open a box of crackers, you eat the box of crackers. And if you open a thing of cheese, you eat this thing of cheese. Maybe I could get away with doing a string cheese because that's like a single serving in the package. But I personally don't want to consume that much fat. So I try to stay away from cheese for the most part. Very, very occasionally I'll have a piece of fat-free cheese, which I don't even think that's technically cheese anymore. It's like, you know, highly processed, weird, you know, it's probably a molecule away from being plastic or something like that. So is it even really food? I don't know. But, like, if that's, you know, a couple handful of times a year that I'll eat that. And again, moderation for me is a handful of times per year I'll eat some real cheese. My wife is very good at doing hors d'oeuvres and appetizers and stuff, this almost always includes a cheese plate. Paige can testify to this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she does 10 dinner parties a year, maybe 2 of them I'm going to eat cheese at. But like, I'm going through my normal day and I have an urge for X, there's no negotiating X for me. If X is not a part of the plan, X is not going to be negotiated in, because I can negotiate myself into a crack house. And, I want to stay away from that. So I have some kind of hard and fast lines, and where I deviate from that, it's very rare, and it's not something. So I believe in moderation. Moderation for me is like, I don't overeat. That's what moderation really means to me. And nothing is absolutely off limits. Like, for example, abstinence for me is I don't drink alcohol ever under any circumstances, period, end of story. That's abstinence. Moderation for me is, I might be in New York 5 times this year, and on 3 of those, I might have a slice of pizza. That's moderation for me. And I will, under no circumstances, have a slice of pizza while I'm at my house. It's not quite abstinence. And, I think moderation will be different for every person. If you eat cheese every day, maybe moderation is just cutting it back by half. I don't know. But I have a real issue with overeating, and I can overeat just about anything, but I can especially overeat fats. I mean, I can overeat carbs too, don't get me wrong. If you give me a giant bowl of pasta and allow me to cover it in olive oil, I can overeat that. It's somewhat more difficult for me to overeat lean protein, and that's what I'm more hyper focused on. But moderation mostly is just that I'm not overeating. And if I am going to overeat, like if I go, I want to sit and watch a movie and eat till I'm sick, I'm going to try to choose celery sticks to overeat on, because that's not going to have any impact on me at all.
Yeah, and I mean, just a little side note: could you overeat on, like, who wants to overeat celery sticks? Don't you get to a point where you're kind of like, okay, like I'm good? I'm just saying, I think, but I don't know. Maybe you can, but I just kind of would give up and be like, all right, if I can't have the popcorn, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Brandy likes popcorn at movies too. I'm not such a popcorn person, but then, I think there are ways to prepare popcorn that are probably would be more ideal for me than others. So I'm not going to deny myself anything as far as food goes forever, because you have to eat. But there are things that I will stay away from. And there's things in my house I stay away from. My wife has a whole booze cabinet. I don't go in there. That stuff's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And I totally get where John is coming from. It's really it could be a delicate balance, and it could be very different for each person. But yeah, I totally get where John's coming from. So John, let us know how you do, and amazing that you're getting to the gym. And thank you for your question. If anyone else has a question for Ethan, you can send it to us at americanglutton.net.